Hello, this is the Option Addict from optionaddict.blogspot.com, and this is my watch list. I'm going to start off with a couple price patterns this week. Let's start off with the flag pattern on Conquer, CNQR Technologies. I was watching this consolidate over the last couple days, and this morning it's opened higher and it's off and running, so it didn't really hesitate for a little while. I think this is a great opportunity to manage your risk right at about $30 per share to get on this great trend we've seen over the last several months. I'm also looking at Sun Hydraulics, SNHY. If you look here, this is kind of the early onset of a descending triangle, as my trend lines here implicate as such. What I'm watching for, though, is a break below 22.5. You could also treat this as kind of a downtrend and take a resistance bounce here or a lower high today in anticipation of that break of 22.5, which I think is a pretty good low risk trade. And if this actually confirms the descending triangle, you're in it with a lot more profits. Let's look at K-Swiss, KSWS, which is kind of a cheap stock. It's the cheap bearish stock of the week pick here this week, but I'm looking at a descending triangle here, and the stock's just recently been falling off of the map ever since forming that lower high. So keep an eye on this to break 22. Next, Air Products, ticker symbol APD. This one also started to consolidate here for a little while, started to flag, and today it's also off and running. So watch the stock as it gets above the Big Benjamin mark. I think it's likely to stay there. Next is Choice Point, ticker symbol CPS. And my trend lines aren't drawn here as of yet, but you'll see kind of the same thing. Another descending triangle formed here. Maybe you can take this also as a resistance bounce, trade it down to 37, and see how it holds at or around support. Next is EMC. We saw a big breakout today, a little bit of a pullback this morning, so if you got in, make sure that you treat 20 as support. If you get a close below that level, that's going to be a good place to exit and manage risk. I'm also watching Respironics. I'm going to keep throwing it up there. This is really more of a stock trade really than an option trade, but you'll see the ascending triangle formed here. I've got this thing all kinds of lime-colored circles all over it. I was teaching triangles this morning, but it's starting to trade higher, starting to trade outside of that resistance, so keep a good eye on it. The recovery of Whole Foods Market, WFMI, it's in the early stages, but it is in kind of a recovery mode. So look at this little triangle forming here. I'd love to see it trade above 46 before I take an entry. Next, ANDE, Anderson's, same thing. This has actually been on the radar for several weeks. I'm just throwing it out there again because it's getting way into that apex, so we'd love to see it eventually confirm if it's ever going to be something that is traded. Next, Drew, ticker symbol DW, symmetrical triangle here on Drew. You can see it plain and simple. It's about 8 points wide, so this should be a pretty hefty breakout once it does move. Next, Roper, ticker symbol ROP, symmetrical triangle, same thing, looking for a breakout of 64 to confirm the pattern. Also, DaVita on the list had a big time breakout and it's starting to flag. So beautiful flag formed here. Watch for a breakout of that descending support line in the area that I'm highlighting right now. When you see a crack above that, should be a pretty good low risk entry. Last on my patterns is Aero Electronics, ticker symbol ARW. It's flagging right up here at resistance, so a breakout of this pattern, it means big things for the stock. Next, a couple of support bounce ideas. I'm looking at the retest on Flir Systems, ticker symbol FLIR. We got a nice, lovely breakout of that triangle, and we're retesting right here at about 53-ish. So I'm watching that. Also, the retest on Autodesk, ADSK. Yesterday, today, getting a couple nice hammers down here at about 48. It's a good retest off of a big-time breakout for the stock. So a couple of stocks at resistance now. I'm going to look at ARII, which is American Rail Car. Lower highs, lower lows. If you look at this, it's a nice rollover from resistance. MTG, same thing of this triangle that I watched via my videos here a while back. This apex is acting as a nice level of resistance, and it's turning lower. Also, SanDisk, ticker symbol SNDK. So the pattern here, the triple top, has kind of failed since it crossed up into that territory, but all I'm doing here is just simply watching this thing continue to trade lower. So not really watching the old pattern here that I was watching for, but just the stock showing some signs of weakness. It's laggard in the group, so I'm looking to get short on the stock here at this point. Also, Church & Dwight, CHD, lower highs, lower lows. You can see the stock rolling over. Might be a good idea to keep this on the bearish watch list. Also goes for Cognizant, CTSH. I got so many damn trend lines on this, it's amazing. All you have to do is watch this level right through here. 75 is holding. Also, AZO. You can see it's just struggling to get above that downward sloping resistance line, and everything so far so good. I'm already in this trade, but I'm loving the price action still. Gives you a low risk entry point right around this level. Also, a couple stocks I'm watching to break above support or resistance. Now, Crocs has already broken out. That happened yesterday, so a good continuation move on this stock today. Next is Apple. Of course, it's a big name stock, and it's big time breaking out. It's still off and running again today, so don't miss the stock as it rallies towards 200. PSA trend reversal. I don't know, a little scary maybe. But higher highs, higher lows, and this level here, 77.50, is acting as support. So I like that. Celgene, ticker symbol CELG. Oh, it's a little late, I guess, but maybe we'll see it get back towards 70. I mean, here's the big breakout we talked about in last week's video, and it's doing pretty well so far. UIC. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright, so UIC is kind of consolidating up here around 70, a little pennant, whatever you want to call it. Watching for a breakout here. It's trading towards its highs, so we'll keep it on the list. Express Scripts, ESRX. And it's the same thing. I don't really see much here yet. It's just the fact that it's trading at its highs. I'd love to see it start to break out at some point. So if it continues lower, really it's of no use. But if it gets towards its highs and breaks out, we watch this stock because we've seen trends like this out of it in the past. So that's why it's still on the list. And next, TBSI. Same thing. Got some resistance going here about 42. Just sitting back watching for a breakout. Now, stocks at support that I'm watching to break down. We'll start with Archer Daniels. Here's support at 32. Looking for that thing to give way. Hasn't yet, but getting close. MLHR, some Herman Miller. And just watching some of this action here, looking for a breakdown, trading towards its lows, looking for it to roll over yet again. Digital River. I don't know if the stock is ever going to break down, but if it does, it's going to be magic. So I'm still watching it. Why not? It hasn't really failed as of yet. So keep an eye on that $43 mark. GLYT. I haven't had this on the list in a while, but I'm putting it back out there. I like this entry point a couple days ago, but you can also watch this for a breakout if it wants to move beyond about 65 or so. Next, MSM. Kind of a weird looking head and shoulders, but I'm not really watching it for that, and what I'm talking about is this action in here. But this level at 50 I think is kind of an important level for the stock, and it's starting to break lower, so keep an eye on that. I think this might be able to go down and test its prior lows, right about 48 or so. Next, Akamai, AKAM. I'm getting pretty short on time, so I'm going to have to make this quick. There we go. It's not exact, but it's close enough. Watch that stock as it heads around 30. Monster, MNST. Eventually, it's got to happen. We're just watching it to break above below 32.5. LRCX. This is also on the list. Big time level of support we're working towards here. This has kind of been a level of resistance. If it wants to turn down, that might be a good trade right around this level. And then last but not least, the Great Atlantic in Pacific T. Get short some tea. I'm just watching this because we got a support level right around here. If it breaks, we're likely to go down and test some new lows, so it's on the list. Anyway, that's my watch list for the week. A few repeats, a few things that are pretty new, but that's my list this week, and that's what I'll be watching. So hopefully we'll see some good trades out of there. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on optionaddict.blogspot.com. Take care.